Hey, what's going on? It's Doug Cunnington here. This is the Doug Show. We're going to go over ChatGPT for SEO and content improvement. Let me know in the chat if you could hear me. Kind of cool timing. ChatGPT, I guess OpenAI just sent out an email a little bit earlier that they're rolling out GPT-4. I thought I saw like some announcement last week. Maybe there was a little chatter that GPT-4 was going to roll out, and some people were like, I'm not really sure. Maybe it was just speculation. But I got the email just earlier as I was thinking about doing this. And then when I logged in and set things up, I got this prompt over here. It says, introducing GPT-4. Our latest model is now available to Plus subscribers, which I'm a Plus subscriber. It has enhanced capabilities in advanced reasoning, complex instructions, more creativity, which, I mean, I was pretty satisfied with the 3.5 version, but we're going to check out 4. I see it says that it's to give every Plus subscriber a chance to try the model. We're dynamically adjusting the cap for GPT-4 usage based on demand. So I think I got the email just like a couple hours ago. I don't even know when. And we're going to check it out. So I don't know if they're going to throttle us back much or whatever, but I'll leave this up here. And for effect, I went to black and white here. So now in GPT-4, it's like going to be in color. So it's just dramatic, you know. I'm getting better at YouTube. All right, and we'll get rid of this little thing. So today we're going to go over some usage and some specific things you could do with ChatGPT for SEO. I actually have like a pretty kick-ass prompt to share with you, which is freely available. You'll be able to like read it if you're a fast typer or whatever, but you can get it. I have all these resources out there for free. You just follow the link in the description. It's nichesiteproject.com/AI resources. And then you enter your email address and then you'll get a couple emails. Some people have had some issues with like how quickly they get the email. So if it takes a few minutes, it's probably not me. It's probably the system. Could be me, but probably not. So we're going to look at a prompt that you can use. It's a few paragraphs long. And if you're curious about how I am creating prompts like the one that I'm going to share with you shortly, you can watch the video from last week where I share what I think is the most powerful kind of prompting, and that's a prompt generator. So it's all around prompt engineering and the mindset to get ChatGPT, not just to write your content, that's boring, but to use ChatGPT or similar tools as a virtual assistant that is an expert in a specific area. So that's what we're going to look at today. So we have Daniel on here. Daniel says, you can hear me. Perfect. On travel mode. What's up? And we have Mukesh. What's going on? Good to see you on here as well. And Khalid, you, perhaps the record. Khalid says, does Google rank ChatGPT content? Yes, it can rank. It can rank. So check out some of my other videos where I'm like, hey, ChatGPT just wrote this post and then now it ranks in Google. Now the question is, should you do that? And the answer is, it's up to you. I don't really care what you do. All right. We have Couch is on. What's up? Kent, what's going on? Says it's a chilly day in Texas. It's actually warm here in Colorado. I think it's supposed to be like 63 degrees today, which is pretty warm. We've had a cold winter. However, my wife is out of town, and as I like it kind of cooler anyway, but I turned the thermostat down. So normally it goes up and down through the day, a little cooler at night, whatever. I've locked it in at 65. So 65, a little cool. The thing is, it's 65 upstairs. Down here in the basement, it's a chilly 59, and I just shaved my head. So my head gets cold, hence the hood. It's very utilitarian around here. So, okay, cool. So what we're going to do, we're going to get started here pretty quick. We're going to lock in for about an hour here and 55 minutes at this point. I did see that Alex over at WP Eagle has Ricky from Income School coming on. So I was like moving around my schedule a little bit and all that. But they're starting at 2 as far as I understand. And I'm like the opener for them unofficially, but that's how I view it. I'm like, all right, I'll warm up the crew, and then a lot of other people will hop over and check out Ricky and Alex over there. All right. So in a second, I'm going to share my screen. All right. Now we got a lot more people on here. So I'm going to share the screenshot that I had on before because it looks kind of cool. And people are indeed asking about GPT-4. So here's the message that popped up when I refreshed my screen earlier. And basically, GPT-4 is out. It's available for the Plus users, and they're going to throttle it dynamically based on demand. So we may be able to check it out. But the thing is, like, whatever we're doing, it's going to kick ass at 3.5 anyway. So I'm going to share the prompt, and you can get this prompt. It's kind of long, but if you're a fast typer, you may be able to get it in time. But basically, share my screen here, probably. Hold on one sec here. Let me make sure I got everything set up properly. All right. One sec. Okay. So here's the deal. Here's the prompt. It's long. It's very powerful. And this is freely available right here. So you can see it's a few paragraphs, but it's within this, it's set up as a course. It's a free course platform, or it's a course platform. It is free for you to sign up. And basically you get access to this whole sort of data information repository. So all this shit is here for free. I'm not charging for it. You just have to give me your email list. I'm building my email list, right? I'm not hiding it from you. You sign up, you're on my email list. You get the free stuff. If you don't want to be on the email list, you can unsubscribe. So you get access to all this stuff, but this is overwhelming. There's too much, right? So there is a cheat sheet. This is no bullshit. It's just the facts. Very thorough, but it's 5 pages. So if you're a little bit experienced, you'll be able to hop right in. The course platform over here, you can still get the prompt engineering sheet, but if you just sign up, it feeds you everything, and then you can get what you want. So here's the opt-in. There's a link in the description. Just put in your email address. It'll take a few minutes for you to get it. So as I mentioned, GPT-4 is out. So if you haven't checked it out yet, which, I mean, this is my first rodeo with this. So when I logged in, I saw that pop up and it said, hey, GPT-4 is out. So now you have an option here. So you got the default is 3.5. It's optimized for speed. And you have, it's a 3 out of 5 for reasoning, 5 for speed, and 2 for conciseness. Who cares about legacy? We'll talk about GPT-4, and the reasoning is at 5. The speed is throttled down to 2, so it's not as fast. The conciseness is 4 out of 5. It says that it excels at tasks that require advanced reasoning, complex instruction, understanding, and more creativity. And I'm really interested in the complex instruction, understanding, and like what we might be able to do with additional complexity. I don't really know. And I guess we're going to have to figure it out and see what other people are doing. Again, this is my first time using it. One cool thing, and I'll point this out early on, you'll notice over here on the left, I have, a bunch of chatbots over there. Some of them, I went over there like one time. I try to keep it kind of clean, right? I try not to have too much garbage over there. So if I don't really have much going on, it's easier to find the stuff that I want to use again and again. So one thing that I have been using is like this Mile High Fi. That's my podcast. And this is a particular chatbot that's set up for a content strategist for financial independence, retire early topics. So it's trained in that. I've been using it for that specific podcast. I have another one that is for Niche Site Project. So Niche Site Project is around SEO, affiliate marketing, content marketing, content websites, and it's trained on that. And it's trained to help me with blog posts, emails, YouTube, podcast, so wide range of content. The point is you could set up a chatbot for SEO. So again, you can get this full prompt here, and basically you could train that chatbot, and then whenever you need help in an SEO area, you would go back to that same chatbot. So you don't have to like retrain the same thing over and over again. Once you train it, you're in good shape. So I'm going to create a new chat here. We're going to use 4, and it says that it has a current cap of 100 messages for every 4 hours. So I think we're going to be in good shape. I don't think we're going to put in more than that. We're only going to be on here for an hour anyway, and then I'm going to go outside and walk around. So I'm going to put in this prompt, the one that you can get freely. Again, sign up for the email list. All right, so it's going to take that input, and it'll say, I'll read it out to you here. Let's zoom in. All right. So as an SEO specialist, I'm here to guide you through the process of optimizing your blog for search engines. Here are the steps we'll follow to improve your website's search engine rankings and drive more traffic to your site. An SEO audit. Okay, I'm just going to hit the high points now. So they'll do an SEO audit. First, we'll conduct a thorough SEO audit of your website to identify its current performance, strengths, and weaknesses, and then they'll go over a couple things. They'll look at competitor analysis, and they'll analyze the competitor's strengths and weaknesses and any gaps. Keyword research. We'll conduct comprehensive keyword research to identify high traffic, relevant, and less competitive keywords that your target audience is searching for. On-page optimization. Whoops, sorry about the scrolling there. On-page optimization. And we'll look at the technical improvement, focusing on the technical side of SEO. Some notes about the site speed and such. Content and strategy optimization. That's kind of what we're going to focus on today. So I'm going to show you several different prompts, or at least strategies, maybe not direct prompts, but I'll show you things that you can do to help improve your content and do better SEO wise. And as we go down here, we have off-page SEO, which is largely link building. So with this response, we can see that this chatbot is well-versed and understands a wide range, on-page, off-page, keyword research, competitor analysis, all these different skills and ideas. It understands them. So if we ask a specific question, it should be able to help us pretty well. Now for the specific idea of like using an SEO expert to help you for your blog, it might be a really good idea to tell it what your blog's about. So in this case, you could do things like put in a prompt that tells ChatGPT, what your blog's about, maybe like a mini about page so it understands the context. You could even put in what articles you already have, for example. Now, some of the things that I'll point out as somewhat of an issue here. Number one, it says do an SEO audit. So to my knowledge, I'm not sure how you would get ChatGPT to audit your website. You could put in like sort of exports of data from your website. For example, if you had maybe I'm trying to think of a good example. Maybe, I'm just making this up, I have not tried it, but let's say you were able to go to the Google Search Console, get a CSV of a bunch of information about your website, performance-wise, and then maybe, right, I have no clue if this will work, but maybe you could feed in raw data and get some interpretation from it. that's pretty advanced. I'm not sure if that would work, but like I said, I'm pointing out that perhaps this is a little bit of a weakness here. So I'm going to hop back over to the chat. I know a lot of people popped on, so I'm just going to say hello really quick, and then I'll actually, while that's happening, I'll just put on the cheat sheet here, so you can take a look at a couple of those. So I'm just going to say hello to some people in the chat. All right. Mukesh says, what time is it? It is 1:15 in the afternoon. And Ariel Phoenix is on. Hey, what's going on? Good to see you. And Grateful Goddess says, I have chat going over a discovery as a top criminal defense attorney. That's pretty funny. All right. Nature Facts, what's going on? David's here. What's going on? And blah, blah, blah. Oh, yeah. And Couch says, is Doug eating yet? Yeah. So I did a 48-hour fast last week, and it was, challenging, but it was actually pretty fun. And I was able, I think I dropped like a percentage of body fat. So like, after eating for a couple of days, I know if you take your metrics like right after you are fasting, it's a little skewed, but yeah, days afterward. So a little bit leaner than I was. All right. And Ariel says there's too much going on. The OpenAI live stream is starting now too. Yeah, I think so. Okay. So we're going to answer some more questions at the end. So if you have some, you could put them in. Khalid says, you're building a website with all ChatGPT content. You have 100 articles and it's about a month old. You're getting 500 to 600 impressions a day, hoping for good results. So I would say, let me know what happens. My guess is if that works, it'll just be a short-term thing. That's my guess. Zach, what's going on? Okay. All right, I'm going to pop back to the demo stuff. So one main thing, right? So you can get this prompt here. So it's an SEO expert. So let's go over here and kind of start at the beginning. So we'll think about like perhaps keyword research, and we'll just do a little bit because I want to jump into the content improvement area, which I think will be pretty powerful. So first, let's we do cameras a lot. So I'm gonna stick with the cameras. So what are good keywords for DSLR cameras? So they give us a little background information talking about search intent, competitiveness of the keywords, relevance to the content, that sort of thing. All right. And it'll give us quite a few. It's giving us 20, which is great. And I'm not going to do a whole tutorial. I actually have a video coming out in a day or two about keyword research, but like you could dive in and say, I'll show you one. So give long tail keywords related to that. And then we'll end up with a bunch of long tail keywords that are specific for beginner DSLR cameras. So that is going to save you a lot of time. Some people don't want to know anything about the search volume, but some people do. So you could use an external tool to get the search volume for these specific keywords and then prioritize them based on whatever criteria is important to you. So one cool thing, and I will give a shout out. There's a site out there, SEO.ai, that has some cool prompts. I put a link in the description, but I was like, what ideas can I get out there? So shout out to that site if you want to check it out. There's a link in the description. So one thing that you could do, so this is one SEO tip, you could sort of like classify these keywords. So classify search intent, and then I'm going to put in these 15 keywords here. Search intent for these keywords. And then I'll just put them in right there. So hopefully it'll tell us how to classify. So it's informational, navigational, transactional, commercial. It's an extra syllable in there. So now we'll have this sort of specced out. So we could use this for categories if we want to. We could use it for something else, but it gives us an idea of the commercial or informational intent of certain keywords. So I'm going to go back to this list of 20. And we get the idea here. So now I'll say, I'll let it keep going, but now I'll ask for keyword clusters. So like many things, it's not necessarily going to give you the 100% right answer that you need right off the bat, but I think it's probably going to be 80, 90% correct for like what you need most of the time. And then you could tweak it. So I put in, I think 30 keywords, 35, I don't know. Yeah, 35 keywords maybe. And it's going to put these into clusters now. So now I could hop back over to the chat while it's typing out. And I think, you could quickly see it's very effective, right? Like we started with nothing, right? I had no idea. I just started with the SEO prompt, and you can tailor that SEO prompt a little bit more. So once you get that as a starting point, you can tweak it, add a couple more paragraphs, and have an SEO expert that is well-versed in the topic area of your site, which is kind of what I'm doing now. I mean, I'll show you one thing in a second that is very interesting. Okay. L Couch says you signed up for 2 Udemy ChatGPT courses. One is 19 hours long. They need to use ChatGPT to shorten it. That's way too long. That's way too long. What did those courses cost? Okay. Chris, FTS, what's going on? Cheesecake says how to access GPT-4. I just went to the site and it was like, you're in for a big surprise. And then it gave me the option to do it. So all you need to do is, select that you want GPT-4. I'm a plus user though. So if you are not a plus user, then you may not have access yet. And I would suggest that you cough up the money and then you get to it. So that might be it. And I mean, that's part of the benefit, right? You pay the money and then you get earlier access. So when I showed up, I got the email earlier and then was very happy about that. And then this screen popped up when I logged in and it said you could use GPT-4. Gave you the option. You didn't have to. It will throttle you. And they said, I think I was going to be able to do 100 chats, 100 prompts in 4 hours. I think that's what it said. I don't remember. Someone can correct me. But it was enough for my slow speed that we're running here. Okay. So we have clusters now. So let's look to see if it did a good job. So it does say keyword clustering involves grouping related keywords together to create content that targets multiple relevant search queries. Here are some clusters based on the provided keywords. So we have DSLR cluster basics. We have beginner DSLR cameras, which makes sense. This one's much longer, right? So this is the one where I fed in 15 that were just related to beginner DSLR. Then we have the best DSLR cameras and DSLR camera resources. Very cool. So I'm going to show you one more and then I'm going to let my voice rest for a minute We do have a sponsor. I want to give a shout out to Odys Global, and we'll roll the ad from them in just a second here. It is critical to let the voice rest. I end up talking longer and louder than I need to often. And crazy thing this morning, which you may hear in the prepared ad that I'm going to roll, my voice was totally trashed this morning. I have no idea why. I literally didn't talk to anyone yesterday after about noon. And then I slept wonderfully. I slept so well. It was amazing. And, usually a man of my age, ladies too, you wake up in the middle of the night, you have to pee, right? You got to pee in the middle of the night. Even if you don't drink that much water or whatever in the evening. But yeah, give me a thumbs up if you know what I'm talking about. If you're a night urinator, you got to get up, you got to go pee. The point is, I didn't wake up last night until it was almost time to wake up in the morning, which was great. And I didn't pee in the bed. So win-win. All right, the last one I'll show you here before we roll the ad is to generate FAQs. So you could ask ChatGPT in a specific area. And I would do this most likely for each one of the topic areas. But just as an example, you could say, give me FAQs for this topic, which I just copied and pasted. And then it'll give us a handful. And because ChatGPT is so damn smart, you can just tell it to give you the answers too. So we're getting the questions here. I'm going to answer a couple questions here before we get to it. And and Don says, why do you have a hoodie on? Is it cold in Boulder? It's not. It's actually quite warm today, but it's cold in my basement, and I just shaved my head, as I do a few times a week. So just a little chilly. My wife's out of town, so I turned the thermostat down. I like it cooler anyway, but sometimes you got to wear your hood. All right. So this is pretty cool. Like I just said, hey, give me some FAQs, and we end up with 15 different FAQs, and I didn't even pry. Like a lot of times you can ask questions like, can you give me some questions that are sort of like really unusual in this area? And then you'll get even more. So I'm not going to get all of the answers, but I'll say, provide the answers to these. And I'll also say in less than 100 words. All right. New line here, and then I'll put these in. And now, while that's going, I'm going to roll the ad. Nobody leave. I'm going to answer questions. We're going to do other cool shit. I'll be right back. Here's the ad from Odys. Message is brought to you by Odys Global, the source for premium age domains. That's domains that mean business. So today we're going to be looking at a specific domain called uwhealthyaging.org, which doesn't really roll off the tongue. But before I show you that domain and look at the Wayback Machine and some of the metrics, I want to point out one thing. Odys has a new situation over here. So they have a make an offer option. So if there's a domain that you want to negotiate, maybe you've had your eye on it, but it's outside your budget, then you can make an offer. So all you have to do is click make an offer, and then you'll be in this area where you can put in your offer, and then they'll get back to you. The other thing is, if this particular domain we're going to talk about today is not one that you're interested in, there's a great filtering mechanism, and you can pop over, you can filter on the industry, the language, the TLD, monthly traffic, some of the SEO values, and so on and so forth. Today, like I mentioned, we're going to look at this site, the Healthy Aging and Longevity Research Institute, which the actual domain is uwhealthyaging.org. So it was created 9 years ago in 2014. The domain rating is currently 12 and the domain authority is 27. And it was a site dedicated to researching the aging process. And the UW stands for University of Washington. Now, they published papers on the aging of humans, and they completed a project on aging in cats and dogs. And essentially they're looking how to extend life. Kind of a cool project. And you could do a ton with this, of course. So, you could publish a lot of articles related to studies that are probably in like journal or papers and journals and stuff like that. And then you can put it into sort of layman's terms so people can understand it. So I could see that being a route to get really high quality content from journals, which you could like go freely take a look at many of the studies, not all of them, but many of the studies you could take a look at least the abstract, and go from there. So those would be monetized with display ads pretty easily. But further, you could go into the affiliate area. And I think there are a lot of products. You could promote supplements, which I actually take a lot of supplements these days, fitness equipment, healthy foods, or, some other, well, you don't want to sell any snake oil or anything like that, but you could branch out into some questionable areas if you wanted to. Don't do that. Don't do that. But you could also promote courses, apps, and coaches, which is a pretty big industry these days. There's a lot of apps where people are training remotely and that kind of thing. So let's hop over to Ahrefs and take a look at some of the metrics. As I mentioned, the domain rating is 12 currently. There are 22 referring domains and 21 do follow. And they come from some pretty awesome domains. So you have The Guardian, you have Washington.edu, you have UW.edu, and we'll hop over. I'm reading them off my other list here, but basically, yeah, The Guardian, Washington.edu, UW.edu, vetstreet.com, uwmedicine.org, and there's some other, they look sort of like, I don't know what they are, but they're Scholar Arc, fightingaging.org. So a bunch of great links, really good to take a look at if you have something sort of in the health area or you want to start a site in the health area. So thanks a lot to Odys. Like I said, you can check out the make an offer option, which is brand new. And if you join using my affiliate link, you can get $100 in your account. If you buy something, I might get a commission, which I greatly appreciate. All right. Thanks to Odys. And if you're interested in an age domain, definitely check it out. And let's get back to it. So when I left you, it's like a TV show. When I left you, we were waiting for answers for these complicated questions, which I didn't even read, but we got like 15 questions or something like that. Yeah, we got 15 FAQs on a specific topic. And I just asked for the answers for 5 of them and for them to be less than 100 words, so it wouldn't take as long, and, just answer the question. We don't need to go on and on. But I mean, in reality, each one of these could probably most likely be a short article of at least a few hundred words, if not 1,000. People get into whatever obsession they have. And I have been a little bit interested in wildlife photography. In fact, I recently got a 2x extender. Yeah. So, okay, here are a couple answers. I'll just pick the third one here. The ideal budget for a DSLR camera for wildlife photography varies, but expect to spend $1,000 to $3,000 for a solid camera body. However, there are affordable options for enthusiasts and entry-level photographers, which I know a little bit about this area, and that is accurate. I think if you ask for specific models, you may run into an issue because the information that ChatGPT has isn't necessarily up to date. However, to tie together what Vince mentioned earlier, Vince says he's been getting good success writing content with ChatGPT if he does the background work, or he has researchers that will do the background work and do research. And then basically you can feed it the input data, and it has some information already, but you could say, really sort of treat this new research as high priority. And then you end up with basically a good post because you put in the information. Now, the key thing there is in this example, right? So we have, here's a range for the camera bodies, like 1,000 to 3,000. You could feed in the specific cameras that you think are good that are out right now. And you could even say, here's a new model. It's the Canon R7, for example. But you could also say, hey, if you're on the budget side, maybe you get the T7i, and that'll do a pretty good job. It's a few years old, but it's going to be like 1/3 of the price or something like that. So you can give, relevant information for that given time frame. And if you're just popping on here, by the way, we are using this prompt right here, prompt for SEO, and we're looking at cameras specifically in the examples that I'm giving. But basically, you can get this full prompt here if you want it. If you could read really fast, you could just snag it, type it in yourself. Or the better option is to go over here, get my prompt engineering cheat sheet and this resource area here. And that specific prompt is located right here. Amazing prompts for niche sites, which an SEO prompt is bigger. The scope is even bigger than just niche sites, but it's located right here. It's free. You just have to put in your email address. You'll get a few emails from me. It's not a trick. I'm just trying to get you on the email list. So that's the trick. That's the trick. Okay, so we went through a little keyword research, a little other stuff. One thing that I use a lot, which is highly, highly effective. Funny if I didn't use it today. But titles and headlines. So I should have used it today, probably, for this specific live stream. But you could use it for blogs, of course. My optimization of this title was to put the little exploding head thing, which always popular. But we can use the same ideas because a good YouTube title is often a good blog post title. And just for fun, I'm going to pop over here. I'm not going to use the SEO expert. I'm going to go to my niche site content strategist and say, what are good YouTube titles for this topic? Which, to be fair, I put in this specific title without any help from anyone else or any chatbots, because it is basically the minimum number of characters that you can use to provide the idea of what I'm covering. So ChatGPT, I added 4 once I realized that 4 was rolling out for SEO and content optimization. So it's literally, no clickbait, no bullshit. It's the shortest number of words that I could use and communicate what I'm doing. I could have taken out 4 and just put ChatGPT : SEO, blah, blah, blah. So these are probably better, right? So revolutionize your SEO and content optimization, step up, maximize, elevate, discover. So unlocking the full potential. If people watched my video last week, you'll recognize unlocking is kind of a fun one, and I used it last week. So you could use it for titles. In our example for today, thinking about SEO, we are thinking about blog post titles because we're talking about, written content. So we'll go back to best DSLR cameras for wildlife photography, and then we'll ask for a good catchy title. And then we'll just pop that in. And actually, so a better way to do this, I said, what's a good blog title? So we'll take out good, that's vague. So, and we'll also say, what are clickable blog title? Okay, we'll put titles. Let's go big. What are 25 clickable blog titles? So we're asking for 25, which obviously we're only going to use 1. But one thing that is powerful about this is you get a ton of ideas. Many of them are not going to be great. A lot of them are going to be okay. There's going to be a handful, say 5, that you think, wow, that's actually pretty good. And what you'll probably be able to do is sort of mix and match and be able to put the best parts of a couple of them together. So basically, we're going to end up with 25, and we may be able to use them for like social media posts. If you do that, you could use them for the text on a graphic or a thumbnail. So you could have a title that's a little bit different than what's on some of the graphics. At least on the YouTube side, that's what we do all the time, right? You have a title and then you have your thumbnail. So I'll often ask, I usually don't ask for 25, but I'll ask for like 5 or 10. That'll give me plenty of ideas. And then I could put the best one keyword wise, the best one for the title as the title. And then I'll take like the second best or something that would make a good thumbnail over on the thumbnail, of course. So I'm just going to read like 2 of these. So Pro's Guide to the Best DSLR Camera for Wildlife and Nature Photography, solid. The Wildlife Photographer's Toolbox, best DSLR cameras for every budget, right? So, I mean, I just picked them arbitrarily. It's great. It does a good job. So one thing you could do, right, you can get the titles fresh like we just did. But let's say you have a site and it's been around for a while. Let's say you hop over to the Search Console and you look at a handful of titles. Maybe you take an export and you just put them into ChatGPT and say, hey, could you improve each one of these titles and make them more clickable? You can maybe improve the click-through rate, the CTR, which should help you rank higher, assuming it's the right, kind of content. But generally, if you could improve the title, you'll get a higher CTR. So you could do it fresh like we just did, or you could take a bunch of posts that you already have, and maybe you could do the same thing. Now, I haven't tested this, but I'm pretty sure, especially with the fancy GPT-4 out there, that you could say, here's a list of blog post titles. Give me 5 new titles for each one that encourages a high click-through rate and curiosity and still stays true to the title and the topic area of the post. And again, you're probably not going to end up with 100% of them being often, but you're probably going to have, or 100% of them being perfect. You'll often have several that are very good, probably better than what you had, especially if you, like many of us, improve over time. You're learning skills in a specific area, you're blogging for longer, and you realize, oh, those titles that you used at the beginning were not very good, and you could do a better job. And by the way, I snuck that in earlier where I said, oh, you know what, I'm gonna hop over to this other chatbot, and like I said, save a chatbot and go back to it. So this is the one that I use all the time for Niche Site Project. And I'm trying to see if you could even tell how much content is here, but you probably can't see it, but there are dozens of pages of me using this chatbot. And the prompt generator, same deal. So the prompt generator is over here on the cheat sheet, which you could download. So the prompt generator is right here. Where the hell is it? Oh, it has its own page. So prompt generator is right here. Literally, I put in the title and I said, SEO expert helping a blog that gets traffic from Google. And then I ended up with this really great prompt. Right? So this prompt generator is fantastic. You just tell it what you need it to be. I could have said, actually, yeah, let's do it again here. So let's go with this. So a blog that gets traffic, but we could just put a blog about what's something fun. How about I've been making like home fermented hot sauce, basically, about making we'll say fermented hot sauce. So an SEO expert who also likes spicy things. So now we have, I want you to act as an SEO expert for a blog that gets traffic and focuses on fermented hot sauce. So in a lot of ways, it's similar to the one we just had. I mean, it's SEO expert first, and then we gave it the topic area, which is cool. But what we can do also, right? So the chat stuff is powerful because you can refine things as you go. So we have a very solid situation here. This is a good prompt, but we can also say add more about hot sauces, especially, right? Very hot peppers, like ghost pepper, Carolina Reaper. All right, so let's see. So we'll still have like a lot of the information that we had before, and it will just append a little bit more on the hot sauces, and it'll be a little bit longer. It specifically mentions, the ones Carolina Reaper, ghost pepper, bok joloki. I didn't mention that one, but that's the ghost pepper anyway. So we end up with even more information, right? So you could just train it exactly how you want, and then essentially use the sort of prompt generator setup that I have in the cheat sheet, create whatever VA you need, like this SEO blogger one, and then say, hey, we're going to focus on hot peppers for this one, or whatever your niche is, right? So this is, like, I think I broke it down pretty well. So those are some of the main things you could do. Let's see. One other cool thing, right? So some of my other videos, I've shown how to, work with creating an outline. So I'm not going to belabor it here. But we could quickly say, I usually ask for a detailed outline, but today I'm going to ask for a high-level outline. But you could ask for a very detailed outline. So give a high-level outline for that. So in a piecemeal way, we're writing the whole thing, right? So I got a bunch of keywords. I focused in on the wildlife photography. We have FAQs. Now we're getting a high-level outline for it. We can add stuff to it. We can add camera models if we wanted to, along with specs, which you could probably just go to the website, snag it, and then put in the information and say, hey, write a review around this kind of content. Very straightforward. So that's one step. If you already have content, we're jumping back and forth. So if you already have content on your site, you can ask to rewrite something. So, hey, write a better intro for this topic, and then here's the current intro. You can give it parameters, like it should be 150 words. It should have a call to action. If it's a product review, for example, it should have a call to action and a clear ask at the end of the intro. So quick note. So we have top DSLR cameras for wildlife. So they have high-end option, mid-range option, budget options, essential lenses and accessories. So we have tripods, camera bags, batteries, whatever, tips and techniques. And it didn't mention any FAQs. So here's one thing you could do. So I'll say, add the FAQs from before to the outline. So it should remember a couple of chats ago that we have FAQs. So now we'll have this 7-part outline along with the FAQs as well. So if you've gotten anything out of this, hit the thumbs up. It'll help other people find it. Pretty cool. Last week, I did a long form, just like this, tutorial, and it got a lot of views. So I appreciate that. And all the people that do click the thumbs up, it apparently does help people find this, and the algorithm shares it a little bit more. If you're watching it later, leave a comment. That's even better. If you really want to help, subscribe to the channel from this video. People don't talk about that, but any video that I've had that was picked up by the algorithm, it is always 100% of the time, it gets more subscribers than any other video. That's potentially one of the most powerful things you could do. No one seems to talk about that, but it's hard to create those kind of videos. All right, I'm going to hop back, answer some questions here. Cheesecake says, can you ask ChatGPT to clone itself for fun? All right. Dan says, is any GPT content original? So I don't know the answer to that. Great question. If you, technically, it is derivative of the original data set, which is big. It's like, I don't know how many data points. We'll call it a large number. So it's a huge amount of data. And to say if it's original or not is, I don't know. It depends on how you define that. Will it pass AI detectors? Maybe, maybe not. Mileage varies widely. If you do what Vince mentioned earlier and you provide the information to ChatGPT, or maybe ask it for a rewrite based on a very rough outline / draft that you create, there's a good chance it is not going to be detectable and it will generally be original. So in the purest sense, Dan, is the content original? If you're just asking ChatGPT to write you some content, there's a good chance it'll be highly derivative of something else. If you give ChatGPT, for example, a transcript, I did this. So I recorded a video. I went to YouTube. I grabbed my transcript. I put it into ChatGPT and I said, write a blog post. It wrote it. It was literally me talking, right? So the transcript was me talking without a script. It was a couple bullet points, and then I just riffed on the topics. That is original, in my opinion. The funny thing is I put it into a couple tools, and it was like 37% human likelihood, 63% AI likely. So it depends. But I would say, depending on how you use the tool, it could be like very original or not very original at all. So if I asked for like specific content based on the keywords and FAQs that we came up with today, there's a good chance it's not very original, but generally, not always, it's probably not going to take very much to make it original. For example, if we have like the questions here and then we have like the one sentence answer, then I happen to know a little bit about the topic area. So maybe I put in like 3 or 4 bullet points that I want to include and then say, hey, ChatGPT, will you write this as the full answer now? That's probably just fine. I would say that's original. Okay. All right. And let's see. And Stefan, what's up? Good to see you, buddy. Have you played around with adding words or phrases to text for on-page optimization? Adding words or phrases to text. Not specifically, but that's a great use case. So that is slightly more advanced, right? So Stefan, that would be perfect to go to Search Console, see keyword phrases that you're ranking in, say, positions 4 through 10, and then ask ChatGPT to add in those keyword phrases to your already written post. So that would be a great way to just you're doing the dirty work, right? You're finding the keywords that you want to target. then you don't have to like spend as much time like rewriting and trying to insert the sentences to use those keywords. So I think that would be a perfect way to use ChatGPT to write content that is original. So great idea. Cheesecake says, any info or leaks on when GPT-4 is free for public use? Not that I've heard of. I mean, they just sent out the email earlier today. Apparently they're doing their live stream coming up here maybe in a few minutes, or is it already going on? They're going to start in a few minutes. All right. And we have some debate. Reza says AI content will always be detectable because it is its core algorithm. So I disagree with that for the exact reason that I mentioned before. I mean, there's a chance that if you speak in a certain way, that like your actual thoughts coming out of your head are, somewhat AI-like. So I would say I disagree with that. But I mean, I respect your opinion. Who the fuck knows? No one knows. Reza says, forget about buggy detectors. Google detector is far different. Yeah. I mean, Google detector, I think Reza is assuming there's a specific Google detector for AI content, which, I don't know. I don't know what's going to happen here. Blah, blah, blah. Oh, Fred's up. He's late. I'm going to be heading out here in a second here. So, and Cheesecake says 3 more minutes to the developer live stream for GPT-4. Okay, so before we head out here, here's the prompt that I used. I know Tony showed up a little bit late, but for the people that want to check this out, so you could like screenshot this or whatever you want to do, or you could just save yourself a lot of time. Click the link in the description. It is free to get this. The GTP Prompt Engineering Cheat Sheet, which is right here. It's 5 pages long, easily consumable, very actionable, no bullshit, no sales stuff. At the same time, you get access to this. I put this in a course platform because I had access to it, and it's free. It's called Free Resources. So I'm not going to charge you for it. You get the prompt engineering sheet there. There's some videos. There's some other stuff. There's also this SEO prompt for ChatGPT. Rolls off the tongue. So you could just copy and paste it from here and do some of the things that I showed you today, which is pretty powerful. So one last thing I'll leave you with here is to persuade your audience using a call to action, right? So let's say we want to get a quick intro, write an intro with a call to action. And I'll just say, considering this outline. So I did not test this. We're doing all this on the fly anyway. So I'm going to ask for an intro with a call to action, and we'll see what we come up with. Thanks everybody for hopping in. Please do sign up for the email list. If you like these live streams, I do them each Tuesday, usually at 11:30 Mountain Time, 11:30 a.m. Mountain Time. So we end up with this. So are you passionate about capturing the beauty and wonder of the natural world? Blah, blah, blah. And I would say it's not a super strong call to action, but they are telling you to keep reading. All right. So keep reading to discover how you can take your wildlife photography skills to new heights with the best equipment on the market. So if you had a particular camera that you wanted to promote, you could ask for that to be included. So you could just say like, hey, include this Canon camera, say it's the best one for whatever reason. All right. Thanks, Couch. Thanks, Vivek and Daniel, Chris, Ariel as well. Thanks, everybody. And Vivek says, if many people start to use ChatGPT, then how will anyone detect? I think, so that's not the constraint. If it seems like chatbot type content, then it won't matter if a lot of people do it. It'll just look like everybody uses it. So the differentiator will be like not publishing ChatGPT type content. I'm not saying it won't work or anything like that, but I mean, if everyone is doing it, your point is right. If everyone is doing it, then you're going to have some different differentiator. So, all right, thanks a lot. We'll catch you next week and have a great day.